Hey, everybody. It's Onorato and Company. Chris Onorato and Ashley Miller live from Saratoga Race Course, the new paddock suite.
Yeah.
We are out on the balcony for a really cool event as they will host Joseph Carr, the nation's top winemaker, Josh Sellers, Joseph Carr Wines. He's here to raise some money for local fire departments, and we'll hopefully have a moment or two to sit down and chat with Joe. We did a few weeks ago or so to preview the event, but the day is finally here, and we'll hopefully get a chance to talk with him. We also have Dan Dakich coming up on the show this week. He's a TBT analyst, specific to why we have him on the show. Of course, Jimmer Fredette was playing in that. Not bad digs, huh, Ash?
No, not at all. This is the first time I've been up here. What a view. We're overlooking the paddock, got some horses schooling, getting used to the surroundings at Saratoga. I could get used to this. This could be a place that I would spend a little bit of time.
Naira.com. Go there and you can find out exactly how to reserve a spot here at the Paddock Suite. It's not that bad. Really not that bad. Beautiful new building and pretty accessible. All right, let's get things going here on Onorato and Company. A lot to do, including the Mets with a sweep. What does it mean? That's where we start.
This is Onorato and Company, brought to you by Alpen House.
Shout out to all of our partners here, local business partners on Onorato and Company, brought to you every single week by Alpen House. I'll be in Amsterdam next Thursday with the show. Looking forward to always seeing the great Heck family, Katie Osborne, as well. All right, Ash. So it's a Subway series. They only played 2 games. They'll play 2 more in the Bronx at the end of August. But I guess my question here is, after you see the Mets sweep a mini series from the Yanks, what does it mean? Anything?
I think it means kind of what we thought it would mean with the return of Max Scherzer. And I think it means even scarier things for the return of a guy like Jacob deGrom, who the Mets are going to get back next week. They've proved that if they have the pitching, they can do enough offensively. They are a different team this year offensively than they have been in past years. So I think it just proves that the Mets are for real. I think most of us kind of knew that going in, but like I said earlier, I think in our rapid reaction from KPM Restoration, I think this was a barometer for the Mets in a lot of ways. Are they good enough to compete with a team like the Yankees? And I guess it was a barometer for the Yankees, and like, are you there yet? Well, no, because these are the kinds of pitching that you're going to face in October, and maybe they're not there yet.
I'm smiling because the first half of that was like so Yankees fan that I'm hearing the Mets fans in my head screaming like, this isn't a barometer for us. The Yankees, we're better than the Yankees.
I'm not saying they're not better than the Yankees.
I hear you.
But they've never proven to be, that good of a team. It's always been the Yankees and then the Mets. So that's why I call it a barometer game. If it had been the other way around, I would have said it's a barometer game for the Yankees. Yeah. And like I said, I kind of flip-flopped a little bit. It is in a way a barometer game for the Yankees too, because it's just proving which team currently is better. And the good news for the Mets is they're going to get better when they get reinforcements in Jacob deGrom.
Okay, so before we get to what the Yankees did ahead of the trade deadline, let's talk about what you were saying here with Jacob deGrom, and then I'll give my thoughts on whether or not that series we just saw really means all that much. deGrom, 4 starts at the minor league level, back-to-back starts at AAA Syracuse. He was not good Wednesday afternoon, gave up 4 runs in that start, but he's healthy, and that's all that matters. I say, like, hey, look, I don't care how a guy really looks. He may be tinkering with some stuff in a rehab start at the minor league level. He just wants to know that he's strong enough to get through a few innings. deGrom proved that. I only worry if I see a guy struggling really at the major league level. So by all indications, deGrom is ready to go for early next week. And then he'll be on track for a series with the Braves if he pitches either Monday or Tuesday. So things get interesting very quickly for deGrom and his return to a big league mound. This changes the game. If he is healthy and he's able to be a factor for the entirety of the rest of this season, changes the game for the Mets. I then put them on par with the Dodgers, who are red hot. Mets, Dodgers, and you can kind of backfill however you want. If you want to put Atlanta third, fine. But the fact if you can get Scherzer, who I know is going to be really good, DeGrom, we haven't seen him more than a year. July 7th was the last time he pitched a Major League Baseball game of last year. And I still don't trust his back, his shoulder, his elbow. So let me see something from DeGrom, a few starts before I believe. But this makes the Mets, I think, the favorites to win the NL if I'm going to really long-term project here.
Sure.
Because in a 7-game series, I can give you Scherzer and DeGrom twice. I can find my way to 4 wins with those guys, or Walker's really good once, whatever. This changes the whole landscape of the National League if DeGrom truly is healthy.
Yeah, and I'm a little more concerned about the bad outing last time out. You said it. Ultimately, as long as he's healthy, that's great. But he gave up 2 home runs. For me, the 3 walks is a little concerning with control. I guess, like you said, if you're tinkering with something, maybe that leads to the lack of command. But if that takes him a little bit to get back, I think if he's 90% of what he was for the New York Mets, it changes the game.
Okay. How much does this change the game? Andrew Benintendi, an all-star outfielder in Kansas City, on a 1-year arbitration deal. Now going to the Yanks. Left-handed bat, not a lot of power, only 3 home runs this year, 39 RBIs, but he's hitting a career-best 320 for Kansas City. Stanton's on the IL currently, so Benintendi, boom, right into it. And, oh, by the way, guess who they're going to play? Kansas City. So Judge, Hicks, Benintendi. Not a bad outfield now with Stanton on the IL.
Nope. And I'll take him. And like you said, he's not a power hitter, but he's a contact hitter. And that's something that not everyone 1 through 9 in the Yankees lineup does is hit for contact. They are more kind of built with power hitters some of whom hit for contact, like a DJ LeMahieu. But yeah, I like the move. We talked a little bit about Benintendi's, vaccination issues. At this point, they're not going to Toronto. They shouldn't be going to Toronto for any reason in the postseason, but we'll see how that goes.
Okay. They do have to go at the end of September. And according to reports on Thursday morning, Benintendi has said, hey, it was a personal choice at the time. He has indicated he's going to get vaccinated. I think the Yankees believe that to be what's going to happen. And so you pull the trigger on this deal because I'm with you. You don't know what's going to happen by the time we roll around October. So I want to make sure that a guy I'm trading for, even if it's 3 minor league pitchers none of us have ever heard of, I want to make sure this guy can be in the lineup north of the border. So it sounds like Benintendi will get vaccinated and be a part of any road trip that might take them to Toronto. Go ahead. What are you laughing at?
I'm laughing because there's a very misbehaved horse in the paddock right now who's getting a little wild, which is kind of funny.
Billy, our boy Billy Blake here wants to know how many more moves do the Yankees make before the deadline? No way they're done now. No,
gotta go get pitching.
Yes, and I think it's Castillo. I think they make a move for Luis Castillo. He's the best starting pitcher on the market. There won't be many of them, I don't think, especially now with the added wild cards. You got more teams beyond the trade deadline, which is August 2nd, who aren't ready to sell. So I think it's Luis Castillo that ultimately becomes the target of the Yankees here, right?
Yeah, I mean, this has been all the talk is Castillo from the Reds. They need someone. I don't know who it will end up being. I would take Castillo, but yes, they need someone in a starting pitching capacity. And they may even need a bullpen arm with, losing Michael King. We talked about that a little bit on our KPM Restoration Rapid Reaction. Losing Michael King, you got to kind of figure out where the pieces go in the bullpen as well. But yeah, I think starting pitching has to be something that they circle.
All right, I'm keeping my eyes peeled here for Joe Carr, who is going to be at Saratoga Race Course any moment for a really cool event. Let's take a quick time out here on Onorato and Company. When we come back, Jimmer Fredette and the TBT. Kevin Durant going to Boston? Is that the right fit for the Celtics? No, I'm not worried about Durant. I'm worried about the Celtics, a team that got to the NBA Finals just a year ago. Is that the right move for Boston? And Brittany Griner's situation in Russia, now kind of the plot thickens a little bit here as we are getting reports from the Kremlin. We've got all that coming on Onorato and Company. Hang on, right after this in less than a minute.
Whether you're into lounging, cruising, or just relaxing, summer fun starts with Alpenhaus. Enjoy a smooth ride that'll change the way you boat forever on a Barletta pontoon powered by Mercury Outboard. Nobody makes a more reliable, powerful lineup of outboard motors than Mercury to continue propelling your adventures. Now's the perfect time to buy a new Barletta pontoon with the legendary performance of a Mercury outboard. Alpenhaus, Route 30 Amsterdam, and alpenhausboats.com.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
Back live at Saratoga Race Course on the balcony of the brand new Paddock Suite. And it is exactly that. It is sweet. The big race this weekend, Ash, while we're here at Saratoga. Let's do a little horse racing here. I had an opportunity to catch up with Chad Brown earlier in the week. He has 2 horses in the Jim Dandy this Saturday, Zandon and Early Voting.
Early Voting, that's who you see right there with the orange cap.
What's your read on these 2 horses?
Early
Voting, of course, the Preakness winner. Zandon finished 3rd at the Derby.
Yep, I was going to say Early Voting has to be the best bet in the Chad barn. I think going into last weekend, we thought maybe Jack Christopher, who ran an okay 3rd in the Haskell, but he's not going to run in the Travers. Instead, going to run in the Allen Jerkins. So we should see, if all goes well, we should see both of these horses this weekend in the Dandy, and then a month from now in the Travers, which is, as Chad called it, it is not just on the bucket list. It is the whole bucket list. The Travers at this point, because he's got a Preakness, obviously a Triple Crown is, you need a lot more to happen than that. But for Chad Brown, the Travers is the bucket list. Yeah. And this will be his best chance at getting it this year.
I think everybody wants a Derby, right? It's cool to say you won the Kentucky Derby, but you're right. Chad Brown wants to be able to walk around Saratoga, have dinner at 15 Church, and say, I won the Travers.
You won't even have to say it. Everybody will know it.
Correct. Okay. By the way, I had an opportunity to talk with Chad outside his barn earlier in the week, and here's what he had to say about his 2 horses and the Jim Dandy.
I think it's a bit of an advantage, hopefully. You hope they have a good, clean race over the track. But not too taxing of a race where they can still move forward into the Travers and have something left for that race. And Early Voting, if they both break clean, is going to be more forwardly placed than Zandon. I guess from that standpoint, he'll be ahead of them for most of the race, maybe all of the race, so we'll see. But Zandon, that's his normal running style. If there's enough pace in the race up front, it could really set up for him. It's supposed to be a small field, but a really solid field, and 3 of the top horses in the division are going to run, so it should be an exciting race.
All right, there's Chad. Sounds like Early Voting first to the lead. It's a small field, but it's a powerful field, as Chad said. Some of the top 3-year-olds in the country in this race 1 week after the Haskell. You talked about Jack Christopher. Feels like Early Voting to me. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go with the Preakness winner and the horse that Chad seemed to indicate there, out to the lead and maybe never giving it up.
Yeah, and I think that's even more possible. And like you said, it's a powerful field, but it's a small 6-horse field. Is that what we're looking at? Listen, it's very small. And that's kind of been the trend at Saratoga this year, is a small fields, but powerful fields. You get 2 or 3 big horses and then a few that fill in. Because listen, horses don't want to run against the big guns unless they have to. So they're going to wait until a race like the Travers, get into the Travers another way, and then you'll probably see a bigger field in the Travers. Billy,
Yeah, Billy says a good one in the Curlin, too. Billy Blake, by the way.
He's our horse racing guy.
Yeah, you know what, Billy? We're going to connect because I'm doing a bunch of shows on Saturday mornings in Saratoga. Oh, hey, I got a plug for that. Hang on, stand by. Saturdays in Saratoga with Onorato and Company. So, Billy, I'll be hitting you up, man. I hope you can join us for one of those shows and educate me a little bit on what is happening on one of those big Saturdays in Saratoga. We'll be at Westside Bar and Grill this Saturday, 11:30, to get you ready for the Jim Dandy, and then we'll bounce around town a little bit. Stay tuned for those locations and those exact dates as we kind of expand here in the summer. And why not? We're right outside the Pick 6 Vodka Paddock. Pick 6 Vodka, of course, going to bring you those Saturday shows of Onorato and Company. All right, let's get into the hoops here, Ash. Mm-hmm. Jimmer Fredette now knocked out of the TBT. They made it all the way to the regional final. And truth be told, Wednesday night, I went to bed. It got a little late. They were down like 9. I thought, well, by the time the Elam ending starts, they have no chance. I woke up this morning. I saw they lost 83-81. I thought, oh, they were right there. They were tied. Next bucket. This is why I love the Elam ending. It was next basket wins. And unfortunately, it was Red Scare, a bunch of Dayton alums that got that next basket.
So you know what's funny? You went to bed and I thought, well, this game is over. I'm going to turn it to the Yankees and Mets. So that's what I did. Turned it to the Yankees and Mets. Yeah. Didn't even realize it was that close.
It was 83-81. It was tied at 81. The target score was 82. Ooh. A free throw would have gotten it done. Instead, it was a layup in traffic for this Dayton team that ended up doing. It was fun to watch Jimmer play. We'll hear from Dan Dakich coming up on the show.
On Jimmer,
analyst for TBT and ESPN. All right, Kevin Durant. Now, the Boston Celtics are the latest team to be most involved, and I think really the first team to be most involved, where we feel like, okay, I can kind of shape a package out of Boston. Of course, it would have to center around a guy like Jaylen Brown. Is this the right move for Boston, a team that got to the NBA Finals this past spring?
I don't know if it's the right move, because I think we've talked about this. I think they're built to win as is. They can make moves that you don't have to go get one of the top 5 players on the planet to win an NBA championship. Yeah. That being said, if you go get Kevin Durant, you're now the favorite to win an NBA championship. So it's not, there is no bad move that they can make. If they go get Kevin Durant, they should be almost guaranteed to win an NBA title in the next 2 or 3 years. If they don't, they probably are still one of the favorites to win an NBA title in the next season or 2 with Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown.
Mm-hmm. I think Durant, though, Boston after last postseason feels like they need a closer. And I don't want to speak poorly of Jason Tatum, right? But what we saw of him in the finals, they had some bad fourth quarters. He turned the ball over more than any player in NBA Finals history, postseason history.
But that's his first NBA Finals.
I hear you. But if
it's happened to many other people.
I know the window is very small to win a championship. Now, Golden State has made that look differently. But if I have an opportunity to get Kevin Durant, who has 4 years left on his contract, and I have to give up Jaylen Brown and some picks and maybe 1 or 2 other players, I'm doing it because he's still one of the best players on the planet, because I can give him the ball in late fourth quarter situations and trust that he's going to get the job done. I think it also creates crazy headaches for opposing teams. Like, Jaylen Brown's a really good player, but I don't think teams fear Jaylen Brown going into each game. They know, hey, if we aren't checking Kevin Durant, he's going to burn us for 40. I would make the deal if I'm Boston. I don't think it's a desperate move. I think it's a, hey, we are here to win now. Let's take our swing at the next 3 years with Durant when he's still going to be 34, 35, 36, and I think good enough to still play at a really high level.
Yeah, I don't disagree. But like I said, I don't think it eliminates. I think they're still a top contender even without him as is. So if they go get him, good for them. Like you said, it's a statement. They're here to stay. They want to win now. But if they don't, I still think the Celtics are pretty darn good.
Sam's checking in. Yeah, we started an hour late to coincide with this event here at Saratoga Race Course, so an 11 a.m. start for us on a Thursday. Sam's checking in.
First family, I like it.
Thank you, Sam. It's very nice of you, buddy. He says, how about those Mets? Go back when we're done here, Sam.
Watch the first
on Facebook and go watch the first 10 minutes or so. We give you all the Mets you could possibly need, or watch us on My 4 Saturday nights.
Yeah.
Carol's checking in too. Carol, great to see you. Nick says Boston has to go for it. KD puts them over the top. I don't think anybody here is disagreeing with that at all.
And if I'm the Nets, I'll take Jaylen Brown. Unless you're going to get a third team to play into this, you're going to find a lot of teams that want a guy like Jaylen Brown.
I agree. I think Jaylen Brown would be a great return for Brooklyn. Initially, when we kicked it around, like, is Phoenix the best fit? Yeah, Phoenix could have given them some really good players, but DeAndre Ayton re-ups. That's not going to happen. I think at this point, Jaylen Brown is probably the best return. But I've said to you, I don't think there's going to be a good enough deal out there for Brooklyn to pull the trigger. I think I know this is so stupid.
He plays in Brooklyn.
Record it, bring it back, throw it in my face. I think Durant is a net next year.
Okay.
I don't see a deal being good enough out there to get this thing done.
Okay.
All right, when we come back here on Onorato and Company, Dan Dakich, TBT analyst with ESPN, courtside seat to watch Jimmer Fredette and the money team. He is coming up next here on Onorato and Company. We still have the Popeyes Louisiana Fast Minute to come. Did you see the look Aaron Rodgers was pulling off at training camp? We'll show you that if you did see it. Even if you saw it, wait till you hear our reaction to it. And Kyler Murray is being told by a professional football team he has to study. Otherwise, he may not get paid all that is in his contract. Dan Dakich, though, next year on Onorato and Company. Hang on, everyone. Back in 30 seconds.
Water, smoke, mold, and sewage cleanup. Reconstructing your home after a disaster can be both stressful and demanding. KPM Restoration will work quickly to restore your home. We'll help provide complete damage restoration to your property.
My problem was that I was traveling. There was a leak in my basement. We called KPM. They came in at 9 o'clock at night and were there till 2 o'clock in the morning until the problem was solved.
KPM Restoration. We'll get you back to normal.
And now back to Onorato and Company. Brought to you by Alpen House.
All right, Ash, from hanging out at Saratoga with the country's top winemaker, Joseph Carr, and the great things he's doing with Josh Sellers to raise money for firefighters in the capital region, to probably the hardest working guy in media currently, from Outkick to his radio show to doing TBT games in Dayton, Ohio. In fact, the last time I talked with this guy was on the radio here locally, and that was a few years ago, and he was so busy then that he did the entire segment walking through a grocery store and then checkout line. That's how busy this guy is. He cannot take a single break. It is the great and hilarious Dan Dakich. Hey, Dan.
Man, I want to be in Saratoga. I remember talking to you about that. Saratoga.
Yeah.
I own a couple, or I'm part owner of about 3 racehorses, and that's like the dream. Run one at Saratoga and run one in the Derby. That's all I want to be able to do.
Listen, you come out here. We've got a place for you and Coach to stay. We'll take you out to nice dinners. Come on out.
Oh, man. I've heard so many great things about, Saratoga and the whole area. And, of course, Ashley, you played for Lee, and Lee's the first person, my wife, Lee Ross, the head coach at softball for a number of years. She convinced me that the Syracuse / upstate New York area is a beautiful place, and I've learned that it is. I have.
She's right about that. I'm biased. I'm from the area, so I have a lot of nice things to say about it, but you can't beat Saratoga.
What would the scouting report have been, Ash, on you at Syracuse?
Well, not good. Listen, I'm a manager turned walk-on, so I'm the furthest thing from a player that there has ever been. But Coach Ross always treated me like a player, and that meant a lot to me. So I was always a part of the team. But I was, on the bus tutoring other players. I was bringing that GPA up. I was doing my best to pinch run. I didn't have to do any scouts because no one was scouting me. So.
All right, Dan, let's get into this here with Jimmer Fredette, our guy from Glens Falls, who's also produced Talk About Syracuse, Joseph Girard III, a couple of good basketball players from Glens Falls, a small city in upstate New York. What have you seen from Jimmer? First time he's been playing competitively on a U.S. court since the 18-19 NBA season. How's he look out there to you?
He looks in great shape, first and foremost. I mean, there are some of us that have not aged well, and there are others like Jimmer Fredette that look like they could still be playing in college. That's the first thing you notice, because in the TBT, there's a lot of guys that you remember them from college and how they looked in college, but they almost look like they ate themselves from college, you know what I mean? And Jimmer looks great. Now, he's played really well. His team is very good. He hasn't shot the ball, and just talking to him for just a second about it, he's been a little disappointed, in his own shooting, but he scored in a number of different ways. And I'll say this about him, man, he is competitive because he does not let anybody on his team or the referees get away with nothing. I mean, he's always talking and he's always engaged, and it's been really fun to watch, really fun.
Listen, I said, I think they're the number 1 seed. And my guess is it's because they have a guy named Jimmer Fredette on their team. Anytime you hear that name, it brings back memories of the crazy run that he not single-handedly, but essentially single-handedly took that BYU team on through the Sweet 16. It's just funny when you always think of the one name, and that's him, Jimmer. There is only one guy. But what is it about this tournament that even despite when Jimmer wasn't there, that has allowed it to carry on? I think we're at 9 years now. And when I first saw this tournament come out, I thought, I'm not sure that this is going to be so successful. Like $1 million, who cares? But these guys all seem to get into it. And you've got all these alumni teams now that are put together, people playing for their old schools, etc.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what? The cool thing about the tournament is, yes, the $1 million is great, right? And obviously, everybody doesn't win $1 million. You divide it up among your team. But in talking to these guys, and my son actually put together a team and had it in there, it's like, you know, when you played in college, a lot of people are like, man, if I could just have 2 more weeks of being a player, if I could just have 2 more weeks of being in the locker room, if I could just – my buddies, it was great while we were there. Maybe we took it for granted. And that's really what this is, particularly with the alumni teams. Like in Dayton, we've had the Dayton alumni team. We had the Golden Eagles, which is Marquette's alumni team. We've had Purdue's alumni team. And it's like, all right, you get to go back in time a little bit. And think about this, a lot of these guys are good enough to play overseas. Well, the overseas market has slowed down because of COVID. So now you get a chance on national TV, on ESPN or ESPN family of networks, to play and to put something on tape. And I'm telling you guys, it is uber competitive. You're right about Jimmer. He's the star of the team, but he's got 2 other guys. He's got the 12 slam dunk champ, Jeremy Evans, and he's got Trevor Booker, who just retired from the Pacers here. It's the level of basketball is high end, but like Cher, Madonna, there is only one Jimmer, and that's who we kind of focus on during the broadcast, right? How's Jimmer doing?
Yeah.
Jimmer said to me he was back in the Saratoga area a few weeks ago, and when I had a chance to talk with him, he said, it's like an old man's AAU tournament. I'll show up 20 minutes before the game, take off the flip-flops, do a few layup lines, and I'm right back into it.
He's lucky. He's in that good a shape.
Yeah.
Right? Some of these other dudes now, it's about an hour process to get stretched and get loose and, a lot of this, a lot of that. You know what I mean? But Jimmer, what's he, 33 years old?
Yeah.
Whatever he is. My man, he literally can do that. But the guy I was talking about, Trevor Booker, I got there yesterday really early, like 2 hours before. I was sitting there eating ribs and just watching. Hey, my man is out there grinding to get loose. So Jimmer is not a normal human being. Let's just put it that way.
No, I believe that. All right, Dan, while we've got you here quickly, before you hit back the road. to Dayton again, we want to ask you just some things that are not TBT related, because you cover it all on both of your shows. Is Kevin Durant the right fit for Boston, if that's what ends up happening?
I don't know why Boston would do that. And the obvious reason is why is Kevin Durant, he scores. But I got to tell you, I always said this about my former college coach, Bob Knight, and in a way, Donald Trump, not to make this political. It never ends well in relationships with those guys. Like you think about Durant, it never ends well. It didn't end well in Golden State. It didn't end well in OKC. Yeah. And in the NBA, you kind of got to knock on the door before you finally break through. I like what Boston has. I get the allure of that talent, but no, I don't think it makes total sense. Brad Stevens is a friend and a smart guy. He'll make the right decision, though, I guess.
In terms of NFL, we know you've been to Colts camp. Matty Ryan is a new name for that team. What do you think about that move? I personally loved it. I thought it was a great move because I feel like they're a veteran away from being a really good playoff team. And he might just be the one who is good enough to be accurate and make the system go.
Yeah, I tell you who wasn't, apparently, Carson Wentz. One of the things that I'm saying about Matt Ryan is, it looks on the surface. But you know what we got? Man, did we get sold a bill of goods on Carson Wentz last year? Frank Reich was Carson Wentz's mentor. They shared Bible verses. Nobody knows them better. All this kind of stuff. And I'm telling you guys, at the end of the year, I think they would have played with any one of us three at quarterback rather than Carson Wentz. So I'm all in with exactly what you said, Ashley, about Matt Ryan. At least I hope I am, because it's more fun when your team wins, right? I mean, It's more fun when you get old and fat like I am. You want appointment TV. Like, I want to say, hey, look, Lee, we're getting everything done, and we're watching the Colts in a big game. So, yes, I am with you. I certainly hope Matt Ryan's the guy, but I'm cautiously optimistic based on what happened with Carson Wentz and the Colts last year.
You see it on your screen right there. Follow him on Twitter, just simple, at Dan Dakich. Dan, one more from me before we let you go here. What does it say about not just a player, but a quarterback? We talked about the test coming out of college. Hey, this guy's got to be the smartest, most dedicated player on the team. And now you got to tell a guy you're going to pay $46 million a year. We're watching you. We want to make sure you're studying 4 hours a week. What is this with Kyler Murray?
He's a child. I mean, let's be honest. My mother was a school teacher. My father was a school teacher. If I got a C in high school, I had to study an hour. So 3 C's meant 3 hours a night. That's how you handle a high school kid. You know what I mean? That's not how you handle an NFL quarterback. I always say this. If you're going to be a pro, emulate the greats. What do the greats do? Michael Jordan got big and strong and could go in the post and could add to his game. All great game. Well, what do quarterbacks do? Legendary Peyton Manning, Tom Brady, tape study, working at it. I saw where Michael Vick said, I never studied tape. I wish I had. I'd have a Super Bowl ring. Wow. I was stunned, guys. I'm not going to lie to you. I was sitting there reading this going, wait, how are we monitoring this? Ashley, you talked about tutoring students. My first year at Indiana, all the freshmen had to go to study table. And I had to sign in. And I'm like, I'm not doing this crap. I'm not. What are you talking about? And this is a quarterback that is, what'd you say? It's $230 million. And they got to make you study. What's he got to wear? An ankle bracelet? So that where he is? Does he have to have a wrist? What is there, an Apple Watch? GPS? Yeah. Hey, I'm not kidding you. That's the damnedest thing I've ever seen. And it just shows Kyler Murray is not trusted, and they're treating him like a child.
Yeah. He's going to punch a clock into study hall every day like I used to have to. Punch the clock, punch a clock. All right. Is Baker Mayfield the starting quarterback for the Panthers?
Yeah, I think so.
I say that too.
I think he's got a little bit left in the tank. It's a battle of punchable faces, let's be honest, between Sam Darnold and Baker Mayfield. Oh. Both guys, you just kind of want to punch in the face and say, straighten up, and I'm not even sure why. But, yeah, I think look, Sam Darnold has been given 2 great jobs. He's been given the job with the New York Jets. How'd that go? Not great. Mm-hmm. Then he goes over to the Carolina Panthers, and everybody says, well, the Carolina Panthers have weapons that he never had with New York. Really? How'd that work out? Yeah. So I think Baker Mayfield's biggest problem, truthfully, was whatever his environment was in Cleveland. Whether he was wrong, they were wrong, only they know. But he's out of there. He's a number 1 pick in the draft for a reason. I think he'll be the starter. And frankly, I think he got really lucky getting out of there and going to a place where he's got a real opportunity. There's only 32 of those jobs, right? Mm-hmm. It's not 130. There's only 32, man. He got lucky. He's going to have a real opportunity.
And we don't have longer than an hour show to even start to ask you about somebody like Deshaun Watson. So I will just say, Dan, man, it is so much fun to hear you back on the call of basketball games. We are loving it at home here in the Saratoga area. Safe travels through all that you are doing. Yeah. And love watching you on Outkick. Listen to you on the radio as well, man. Continued success.
Thank you. And
like I said, always a place if you want to come to Saratoga.
Seriously.
Hey, look, I'm like a cockroach. Once Lee and I show up, man, we spread out. We're there forever. You never.
I'm gonna text her when we get off of this call here.
Lee told me to tell you hello. Thanks for having me, guys.
Of course. Thank you, Dan.
Happiness is found in simple things. The sun on your face, sharing laughs, at the campground, getting wet, relaxing together, the love of family. There's never been a better time to go outside and play. Alpenhaus Pool Spa Boat and RV, bringing families together and creating memories since 1964.
Teams, athletes, organizations. We're transforming the custom apparel industry through product and purpose. Claim your crown.
And now back to Onorato Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
And we're back on Onorato Company here. And look at the guy I've got to my side, the man of the hour, the guest of honor, Joe Carr, hanging out with us here. A beautiful paddock suite, huh, Joe? Not bad.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. This is a big upgrade from the picnic table I used to go hanging out on when I was a little kid. Yeah, this is air conditioned. It's going to be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Here is the wine we are talking about, people. And it's such a great cause. $1 from every single bottle of wine. This special reserve Cabernet by Josh Sellers, $1 from every single bottle sold, Joe, is going to go towards a firefighter organization to support first responders. Why?
Well, you know, my father and my grandfather were both volunteer firemen in a little town called Berlin, New York, in Rensselaer County, right down the street here. And I grew up across the street from the firehouse, and that culture was very much part of my life. And on an interesting note, 60 years ago this week, a propane gas tanker blew up and burned down half of Berlin. 10 people were killed and many people were injured. And volunteer firefighters from all over the county came to put out the fire, and it changed the way propane was transported at the time. My grandmother and my mother took us down and put us in the river to protect us while the houses were being burned down. It was remarkable. And you know, that's something that has always been the history of our family's life, and we've always thought about it. So when we created Josh Sellers, we wanted to give something back.
Joe, what has the response been like? We've got a kind of an inside look here, but what are we doing here today? And what has the response been like for an event like this that goes to such good cause?
Well, I mean, today is First Responders Day. So we've got a lot of firefighters, police officers coming today. And we're actually not just in the paddock here, but all over the track. This wine is being sold, and part of the proceeds will go to the Saratoga Firefighters Community Fund, which will help the local firefighters, first responders here in Saratoga Springs. And we're going to match whatever is made today. We're going to match.
Wow.
So it's going to be a big thing. It's really exciting. It's great to be home. I've been handicapping all day, but I think I'm just going to pick the horse with the brown spot.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Joe, you were so gracious with your time with us a few weeks ago. This event, 50 people, it's very exclusive, Ash, sold out in minutes, which is not a surprise.
Yeah.
You could have done hundreds, but it's a really intimate setting. It's a great thing, and I can only imagine it will grow from here on out. What do you think of the wine?
Well, you know, the wine is, we started making this reserve Lodi wine a couple of years ago, and the inaugural one, we did put 2 firefighters, 2 first responders on the label, and it's just been a big hit. Wayne Donaldson is a winemaker. He's an amazing winemaker, and we produce a certain amount. It's a reserve production, and it sells out every year. Yeah. So it's fun, and it's great to do these events. It's about gratitude. Josh Sellers is always about gratitude. It's named after my late father, and You know, my late wife and I started this company 11 years ago, selling it out of the back of my truck and driving around the Adirondacks in upstate New York, and everybody thought we were nuts. And now it's the #1 brand in the country. So it's an American dream.
You said, what, 1,000 cases in your first year to more than 5 million now, Josh Sellers. Incredible stuff. And it's
I had to get a bigger truck.
I guess so.
I would think so. We had dinner with a friend of yours, Craig Allen, a few nights ago, and I can imagine I'll be stopping at his place to buy a few of these for sure. We're going to let you enjoy. Ash, final word, as always.
I know you're not based here full time anymore, but to come back to the track, we talked to you about growing up here and you know, the memories that you had here. Does it kind of give you those feelings again when you walk into a place like this?
You know, like I said, my mom and dad would bring my sister, not my twin sister's coming today.
Okay.
She's wearing, my mom passed away last year, but she's wearing my mom's favorite hat, you know, and she's going to do the same thing that my mom used to do. She'll go to the paddock and find the horse with like the brown spot and win money. I never win any money. But yeah, no, it's a lot of great memories. You know, we were little kids. They bring us here and pile us in, and we'd listen to music and have a picnic lunch. And I mean, this is pretty fancy here tonight. This isn't what I was used to, but it's going to be awesome. It's going to be great.
You're doing things right as an incredibly successful businessman. It would be easy to just kind of live that life and do what you do, but you're philanthropic in so many ways. And so we appreciate you being here. We appreciate you doing the show multiple times now. And I know the crowd inside can't wait to pick your brain a little bit about the business and about how you make these incredible wines.
All right. Well, thanks a lot.
Joe, thank you, man.
Thanks,
See you soon.
Joe.
All right.
Good to see you.
Joe Carr with us here on Onorato Co. Quick timeout. When we come back, the Popeyes Louisiana Fast Minute. Aaron Rodgers in a tank top looking like Nicolas Cage at a Con Air. I don't know. Hang on. We're back right after this.
You've heard of unsung heroes. The men and women of Niscoba are the unseen heroes. For the past year, you've learned about our many charitable endeavors. Now it is my privilege to share with you the work performed by our members, the 20,000 state correction and law enforcement officers shielded from view. They work in difficult and dangerous conditions and are an extension of the police who protect our neighborhoods. Niscoba honors New York's police and firefighters and salutes its own members who help deliver a peaceful night's sleep.
At Marcella's Appliance Center, our commitment is to you, providing essential appliances that families depend on for cooking, refrigeration, cleaning, and sanitation, plus appliance repair. You can have peace of mind that Marcella's is here for you today and every day, like we have been since 1957, helping you make the right choice with trusted brands like Whirlpool, Maytag, KitchenAid, Genair, and many more. Shop Marcella's Appliance Center in-store, online, or by phone. We're here for you.
And now back to Onorato and Company, brought to you by Alpen House.
Welcome back to Onorato and Company. We got a fan.
Wait,
we got a fan here.
I'm
He's
speaking
hanging
with some
out with the
people who
people.
are here to support this great event and here with a firefighter. We're absolutely going to track him down and get his story for sure. It's worth telling. Yeah.
We'll see you inside there.
Great crowd here for this event with Joe Carr, as he said, from Berlin. And I had somebody email me, Ash, when we were pumping this up on the morning show.
Yeah.
It's Berlin, not
Berlin.
Berlin.
Oh, Berlin.
So,
okay.
Berlin.
All right. Well,
And-
Joe would know.
Yeah, and it was somebody who lives in Berlin. So
Yeah,
I'm going to make
Joe's the
sure
guy.
we get this thing right. All right.
Yeah, of course.
Let's
you do.
jump into what everybody has been talking about this week. And I just, look, everyone I think who watches the show knows I'm a Packers fan.
Yep.
So I try to be as down the middle and level-headed as I can about all this.
Sure.
But it's like every off season.
It's
I'm talking about Aaron Rodgers that doesn't have anything to do with playing football. And so let's get into the Popeyes Louisiana Fast Minute here. Ash, you and I will share this one. This is Aaron Rodgers rolling into training camp.
I mean,
Now, this is staged.
the
social media.
slow-mo hand through the hair kills me.
It drops the bag to who?
Yep.
Nobody. There's nobody there. It is a staged social media event.
No doubt.
It has everybody talking, and Aaron Rodgers has, I don't think, ever cared too much about what people thought about him, although it has created a competitive chip on his shoulder. Look at this side by side with Nicolas Cage from Con Air. This is a setup, right? Aaron Rodgers knew, I am dressing like Nicolas Cage from Con Air, and everybody's going to be talking about it.
I mean, listen, it doesn't take much to dress. Like, it's not like it's this special outfit that is unique to him. You know how many people have worn that white tank and jeans in their lives? But the hair, the beard, the whole thing totally is set up.
And there it is again.
And it's all about him. It's always all about him. No matter what the attention, it's all about him. Good, bad, indifferent, it doesn't matter. It's got to be about Aaron Rodgers.
But isn't that fun? Like, isn't what he just did there fun? Like, there's great self-deprecation there. The internet's going to kill me over doing this, and yet I'm going to allow the Packers organization to shoot video of it, turn it into a slow-mo video, tweet it out. My teammates will make fun of me. They'll get a good laugh. Is this not a way for him to be down in the dirt with the other guys, as opposed to the quarterback who's making $50 million a year?
Yeah, but he's not. I mean, people aren't going to make fun of him for it. People love it. That's the thing. It's like people love the fact that if this was pre-planned, and if it was pre-planned with the Packers, people love that. It's not like they're making fun of him. But yes, he always needs to be the center of attention. If you're his teammates, do you love it as much? I don't know. I think they probably do. Because I think they probably think it's funny.
Oh, they love it.
There aren't, I mean, most of his teammates are younger than you and I, and we're almost too young for Con Air. Like, I feel like I'm almost too young for Con Air. I've seen it, but we're on like the very verge of like the edge of that. Kids in their 20s and early 30s have not seen that movie.
No, you're right. Nick says he should be able to afford a shirt with sleeves. Yeah.
But that's why he keeps his money. He doesn't spend it on his clothing.
Yeah. So I had this, and I'll pop it up now, even though I didn't actually during the segment. Is that the look of a Super Bowl winning quarterback?
No, but what does a Super Bowl winning quarterback look like?
Tom Brady. Tom Brady is what a Super Bowl winning quarterback looks like.
You remember what Tom Brady used to look like? Remember that picture from his draft day?
That was a long time ago. He wasn't winning. Now he's dressed in canali suits or whatever.
But what the year Aaron Rodgers won the Super Bowl, what did he look like? He's going to look a lot different than he did now. So he doesn't look like a Super Bowl winning quarterback. And back when he won it, who knows if he looked like a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Still a lot to come on the show here. We've got the Marcella's Appliance MVP of the month. We are at the end of the month of July. Can you believe it? August. This is not right.
No.
We'll give you our MVP of the month. We've got our Performance Industrial Dirty Difficult Done still to come here as well. Back in only 30 seconds, everybody.
I don't care what kind of stories that's been told on you. That may be a lot of things in life you used to do. If you can't give true love to me, I'll understand. Just do the best you can.
Michelob Ultra, 2.6 carbs and 95 calories.
And now back to Onorato & Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus. And now back to Onorato & Company. Brought to you by Alpenhaus.
Back on Onorato & Company. Let me throw this up here from Brian. Have a fun this afternoon. It's a beautiful day to be at the track. It's a little humid. If I'm going to complain at all, it's a little humid. Of course, I'm the idiot.
A little bit, but I'm in no sleeves, so I'm a little better off than you.
Feels better? Okay. Yeah. It is nice. Okay. It's not 97. It's not raining. We are happy to be at the track. It is a beautiful, beautiful place to be.
I'm showing that Nick comment because it's funny.
Go ahead. Yeah. Rodgers rolled. Look, but that's after he won the Super Bowl.
I know, but it's funny.
Rodgers needs to win one more. I know it.
And Carol says we don't all love him. She's right. Carol, I don't love him either. So only one podcaster loves him. The Onorato portion of this podcast loves him.
Love him.
The company
Yes.
portion doesn't.
Yes, I will continue to love him. I've stood
Yeah,
by
you
him
gotta love him.
through all of this other nonsense. I can handle a Nicolas Cage Con Air spoof.
The only other choice you have would be to love Jordan Love.
And I might have to do that someday.
At some point.
And that's okay.
Yeah. I don't think you'll have to.
All right, here we go. Marcella's Appliance MVP of the month still to come. But let's get, while we're talking the NFL, we're talking quarterbacks, let's do the Performance Industrial Dirty Difficult Done.
And now, Dirty, Difficult, and Done. Presented by Performance Industrial.
All right, Ash, everybody's been talking about Aaron Rodgers, but this is really what grabbed everybody's attention this week, I think, anyway, and that is Kyler Murray's contract. And I will say, thanks to our buddy Bill Miller at Performance Industrial, South Glens Falls and Albany locations, there is no job that is too difficult or too dirty. He will, and his team will get it done, whatever life throws at your business or your home. You want to epoxy a floor like we showed you at Novice Clothing Company headquarters last week. Performance Industrial does an incredible job. Seek them out, and Bill Miller is the guy to talk to there. All right, who did Kyler Murray dirty in the Cardinals organization? Because I'm telling you right now, somebody is not his friend in Arizona. The contract leaks, and it's the page that says he is required by the team to study 4 hours a week. The playbook, 4 hours a week. I know he's a young guy, and I know his head coach is a college coach by trade, but we don't need study hall in the NFL, or at least we shouldn't. This is a little concerning to me that you are going to pay a guy $46 million a year, and yet you don't trust him to really know the playbook as well as he should.
Yeah, and listen, this tells you all you need to know about him. He definitely got done dirty. I don't disagree with you, but I can't imagine that the Chargers have to force a guy like Justin Herbert to put his nose in the books. You know what? In fact, maybe they say, all right, man, here's the deal. We're going to limit you to 12 hours a week. Like, there are guys who you have to pull out of books and force them to get a little time away from football. This clearly is not that guy. This is the guy that you have to force to do it, which is very concerning. And by the way, 4 hours, that's like nothing. If he's only doing 4 hours, that's going to be a team that's not going to win.
Right. The concern would be he's only going to live up to the basement that we give him, and that's 4 hours. It is certainly, yeah, you're right, not enough. A guy like Peyton Manning, you couldn't keep away from film study. Phillip Rivers wanted to live in San Diego still after the Chargers moved to LA, that he bought a big RV so that in the 2-hour drive, he could watch film. He didn't want those 2 hours of commuting to be wasted. It didn't seem like Kyler Murray's that kind of guy. And, oh, by the way, what has he done yet in his career? They've improved each year.
Yeah, no doubt.
But have they? No.
No, and he showed flashes of brilliance. He's proven that he adds a dimension that other teams don't have with his legs. He can extend plays. He can do things that not every quarterback in the NFL can do. But if you just studied the playbook and wanted to study the playbook, imagine what you could do from there. If it just kind of sounds like you're forcing him to do this, imagine what the ceiling would be, how high the ceiling would be for a guy like him if he did all the things that some of those other quarterbacks do already and don't have to be forced to do.
All right. We're at the end of the month, like we said. So that means only one thing. Our people at Marcella's Appliance bringing you the MVP of the month.
It's time for the Marcella's Appliance Center MVP of the month.
I love that little animation. Shout out to our guy, John Conlon in
I almost said
graphics.
choo-choo, but it's a van.
He does such incredible work. And shout out to our people at Marcella's Appliance Center, Schenectady, and Clifton Park. It's where all of our appliances in our home
they do.
Marcella's. Johnny Marcella is the man there. Go talk to him. He'll get you the deal. and the appliances you need. Here is the Marcella's MVP of the month. You're like, Juan Soto, he's a good player, and obviously he was home run derby, but he's on a last place team. How could he be the MVP? Chris, you always say most valuable player has to be on a playoff team. Otherwise, where's the value? Here's the value. Juan Soto is the most valuable player currently, because I don't ever remember a guy at 23 years old just ascending into his prime, an absolute superstar, ever being on the trade market. He's got 2 years left on his contract. He just turned down 15 years and $440 million bet on Washington. That's not good enough. You should know that.
No.
And so now he becomes the most valuable and most coveted player in Major League Baseball, because for the next 10 years, he's going to be an absolute stud for some franchise other than the Washington Nationals. That's why he's my MVP, Ash.
Yeah, no doubt. And you said it. He went out not only after all this went down, so there's all this drama. He declines the contract. Everyone gawks at the numbers, which, oh, by the way, we've talked about it. Average annual value is nowhere near where it should be for a guy that's a top 10 player in the league. So I don't blame him there. Flies to LA, wins the home run derby, and then is like, all right, where am I going to play now? Because if you didn't already want me, well, now you should definitely want me, because you've seen the power firsthand. You saw he brings personality to the game. He had fun with it. He is what every team wants. Now, we've talked about it. You're the Marcella's MVP for a reason. Somebody is going to have to sell you their whole team in order to get him on their team. So it's going to have to be a very unique situation to get him. If I'm the Yankees, I don't do it. I've told you I stay with Judge, but he's going to end up somewhere, and he's going to make a great team a World Series winner, or he's going to make a good team a great team.
Yeah.
Or he's going to make a bad team a good team, but I don't think he's going to go to a bad team.
No. First of all, bad team is going to be a small market team that may have the resources in terms of player capital, but won't be able to pay him in 2 years. So unless you're Tampa and you feel like, hey, we're really close, we can go win this thing in the next 2 years, let's trade for him, and then we know we won't re-sign him. I'm with you. It's got to be a big market team. It's got to be in New York, an LA, even a San Diego. They seem to be really hot on him. But I don't think it gets initially I thought this is going to get done sooner rather than later, because how do you go through the rest of the season with him on your roster knowing he wants out, he's out, but I don't think it gets done till the winter. This feels like a winter meetings deal where some blockbuster gets done, right?
Yeah. Nick brings up a good point. I'm not going to say Goldschmidt's our MVP, but this would be interesting. Imagine Soto along with Goldschmidt and Arenado in the lineup in St. Louis. How often do the Cardinals just kind of like casually get all these good players and end up, it's been a while, but end up deep into the postseason? They are like quintessential. When I was growing up, it was like no matter who they had, they generally got deep into the postseason because they're the Cardinals.
Yeah.
That would get them there.
Look, Goldschmidt might be the Major League Baseball regular season MVP. And so we've got a couple of months before that gets settled. Paul Goldschmidt might end up our Marcella's MVP of the month before all is said and done. We'll see. We are going to see some beautiful people, maybe taste some outstanding
I got to
wine.
go bring back that wine. I stole a bottle of wine. This thing will be getting underway in a minute. I got to go return it.
I don't know if they'll miss it. I'll be honest with you. I don't know that they'll miss it.
All right.
Yeah, it might look better on our wine rack at home than in the paddock suite. All right, Ash, this was fun. Thanks for popping up to Saratoga and doing the show as always. Thank you for watching, everybody. Onorato & Company live from Saratoga Race Course. We hope you have a great week. We hope you're back with us here next week on Onorato & Company.